Let's observe a little silence, 30 seconds, and then we will begin. Okay. So we were doing Sarvopanishad, as the very name suggests. Sarvopanishad, the Sarva Upanishad, which is everything, all encompassing, all the quests included, all the technicalities or whatever you would like to call, all that included. And that is what we experienced on day one when we looked at the Upanishad. Okay. So we looked at this beautiful space wherein this disciple is questioning. I mean, such questions to occur in the disciple's mind is not something that easily comes. We don't even think in those terms. Those questions don't even occur to us. But the disciple is asking that question. That tells a lot about what kind of environment probably they would be living in, how they had been nurturing the mental faculties, and where is the consciousness? What is the focus? What they are looking at? I think if there is any question that you would like to ask or anything that you want to share before we dive into the Upanishad itself, you can just share that, and we will take a look at the question, and then we will go ahead with the Upanishad. Anything that's coming in anybody's mind? Any question that's ringing? कोई भी प्रश्न, कुछ भी मन में, या इस वक्त मन में क्या चल रहा है?
Hi, Risha. I didn't know.
कोमल जी, आपकी आवाज बहुत कट रही है, मुझे लगता है प्रॉब्लम है थोड़ा इसका।
I know there is some network. Just go somewhere else. I'll just go somewhere else and connect again. I'm going somewhere else. This area is creating some problem. I'm coming.
So then we will move into the question, to the Upanishad itself. So we looked at some aspects like what is bandha, what is liberation or moksha, what is vidya, what is avidya. Achha, vidya is so very interesting. I can actually keep talking about it. And anything that occurs to you. Vidya is very clear. One of the very fundamental concepts when we go to these scriptures is vidya and avidya. How these two worlds have been separated. In certain way, we can also say that everything that is of the nature of duality, हर वो चीज जो द्वैत से संबंध रखती है वो अविद्या है, और वो जो आपको अद्वैत की तरफ लेके जाती है वो विद्या है. Okay, so then we discussed on the three states of consciousness, which is Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti, and the fourth Turiya. So these are the questions, and we looked at bondage and liberation and the Vidya. The second shlok therefrom, the Rishi is answering about the 4 states of consciousness. So he's already talked of the 3 states. We are now going to look at the 4th state. At this junction, it will be interesting to note and understand that consciousness and awareness are two different things. And especially when we are talking of these things, a certain distinction would be quite important, and they will help us because words are loaded. And if we all are picking up different meanings of those words, then we might misunderstand them. We may not get the essence of what it is saying. Consciousness has got various stages. So, चेतना के स्तर होते हैं ना? There are states of consciousness. कौन कितना conscious है? So consciousness is something that has the capability to evolve. आप अपने कॉन्शियसनेस पर काम कर सकते हैं, आपका ध्यान किस तरफ है उस पर काम कर सकते हैं, आपकी चेतना कहाँ है उस पर काम कर सकते हैं, और उसको हम ऊपर 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 ले जा सकते हैं. Awareness is a state wherein it is just awareness. So you can even say कि consciousness जब अपने चरम पर पहुंच जाती है, सबसे ऊपर पहुंच जाती है, टॉप मोस्ट को अचीव कर लेती है, when it is there, then what remains is actually awareness and not consciousness. So although awareness is a word that we really use very, very loosely, I am aware of it, I'm aware of that. No, I am actually conscious of this and I'm conscious of that. That would be the right, and this is especially in relation to the spiritual discussion that we are right now trying to do, is what I am saying. So in world, we use these 2 words very interchangeably in our everyday parlance. I am aware of this, I am aware of that. Yet, यहाँ पर जब हम इन शब्दों का प्रयोग करते हैं, तो awareness और द्वैत की स्थिति है. Awareness is that state of being in non-duality, when only awareness remains, and now consciousness has merged into awareness, and that's the topmost. And that's why you will not listen anybody talking of levels of awareness. There is nothing like levels of awareness, but there are levels of consciousness. Okay. So the Rishi begins by answering the disciple. So he's already in the process of answering. अवस्था त्रय भावात भव साक्षी स्वयं भाव अभाव रहितम नैरंतर्य चाक्यम यदा तदा तुत्तरीयम चैतन्य मित्युक्षतेन कार्याणाम शषणाम कोशाणाम समूहोन्मयः कोश इत्युच्यते. When the essence of consciousness, which manifests itself as the 3 states, is a witness of the state. So the essence of consciousness, which is the awareness, manifests itself as the 3 states, and the 3 states are the state of dreamless sleep, so state of sleep, the state of dream, and the state of wakefulness. So Jagrata is the wakefulness, Swapna is the dream state, and Sushupti is the state of dreamless sleep. So the Rishi says that the essence of consciousness, which manifests itself as a 3 states. So what are these 3 states? These 3 states are nothing but the manifestation of these 3. And this again brings us to the same essence, that this entire world is the interplay of a Dvait manifesting itself into Dvait. तो जो हमारे रेगुलर भाषा में हम जो प्रयोग करते हैं कि ईश्वर की लीला है और इसीलिए बहुत सारे हैं वगैरह वगैरह. So this exactly is what the Rishi is also referring to? That finally these three, if you become conscious of that, then you have a scope, you have a possibility, you have the potential wherein you actually move beyond these three states. And this beyondness itself is called the fourth state or Turiya. Turiya literally also means the fourth. And the way there has been name connoted to Jagrata, Swapna, Sushupti, no name has been given to Turiya because the rishis who coined these terminologies, they want us not to get into the terminologies. They want us to be in that. They want us to understand that. And because mind is very good at cooking stories, so probably if a name is given to that, then the mind will even start talking of Turiya. And to an extent that there are spaces wherein the Rishi has even mentioned Turiya Teeth. So we corrupt Turiya also so much that the Rishi has to talk of Turiya Teeth. Arvind, the three states are the Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti, which is the waking state, dreamless state, and the sleeping state. Dreaming state and the dreamless state, sleeping state. So Rishi says that in these three states, you are finally witnessing the world. You are in the world in various ways. You are engaged, your mind is functioning. And the moment there is this mind functioning, there already is a division between you and the Atman. You are still not realizing that you are in Atman, and that's why you can see these divisions. But the moment these divisions would start to disappear, जैसे जैसे इन तीनों चेतनाओं के स्तर के बीच का जो विभाजन है वो घुलने लगता है और हम चैतन्य होने की तरफ बढ़ने लगते हैं, then the fourth state happens. So how he defines the fourth state? He says it is the witness of the states. The fourth state is not just a state like that. It is the witness of the state. So if you be in Turiya, you have the capability to really be able to see as a third person, as a witness without attachment. And this is very important, without attachment. It is not me who is doing everything in this world in the waking state. It is not me who is enjoying or not enjoying, or at least having these dreams. And it is me who is also into the deep sleep. So one is witnessing, and at the same time, there is a sense of dispassion. There is a sense of disattachment. So whatever is happening, what exactly this unattachment means? It means that you are no more labeling things. There is no need to judge. This is good, this is bad, this is light, this is dark. Whatever is. Factually see it, know its need, its importance, its usage. Whatever is needed, do and move on. There is no need to get stuck. ये क्या था, ये क्यों था, ये क्यों नहीं था, ऐसा होना चाहिए, वैसा होना चाहिए. All this should and should not, they disappear. This is the state of dispassion. This is the state of being in non-attachment. This is the state of witness, wherein it's exactly like this. For example, if you go to court, wherein we have this concept of witness, the judge only listens to what the witnesses say. So there's a different connotation, but actually judge is the witness to whatever is happening. And the judge is not biased towards anything. And depending upon all the evidences, etc., which has been produced, he passes judgment, which is his job, and not because he is attached to passing the judgment. That also for him becomes a fact. and not something that he carries with him. That मैंने तो ये judgment दिया, मैंने ये क्यों judgment दिया, मुझे ये और consider करना चाहिए था, मुझे ये और evidences मांगने चाहिए थे, वगैरह वगैरह. So it is exactly like that. In the witness zone, and this is very beautiful, and I would really love to invite you all to try this. And I think one place wherein you can start is giving yourself that space to be silent. Most of us don't, and that is the challenge. But if you start to give yourself that space of even 10 minutes every day, it's good enough to begin, of silence, you will start to recognize what kind of thoughts mind is nurturing. And you might even feel, oh my God, मैंने तो ये नहीं सोचा था, मेरे दिमाग में ये ख्याल क्यों आ रहे हैं, मेरे मन में ये ख्याल क्यों आ रहे हैं? Why are these thoughts coming in? And the simple answer is because you are engaging into all that. Thoughts are like guests. Whatever you will entertain will keep coming. What you do not entertain will come, will check your house, and will go, and will not come back. So any and every thought that comes, please know that you are the entertainer of that thought. And the moment you start allowing that space of silence to yourself, you will see slowly and gradually. And you do not need to engage with the thoughts, to blame them, to judge them, to label them. Nothing is needed. So then you actually experience that now what is happening is I'm just seeing that they are coming and they are going. And it is so interesting to see, and there is no reaction arising in me. Notice this. The moment thoughts come in our minds, how the body reacts. And we experience those changes, the hormones working. Anger comes in, sadness comes in. बैठे बैठे मुस्कुरा रहे हैं कुछ सोच करके. होता है कि नहीं होता हमारे साथ? बैठे बैठे गुस्सा आ रहा है कि ऐसा उसने क्यों बोला, मैंने उस पर रिएक्ट क्यों नहीं किया, मैंने उसको जवाब क्यों नहीं दिया, मैंने ऐसा क्यों किया. So every thought, when there is engagement, and depending upon the intensity of engagement, it has a bearing even on your body, which means if it is intense, it is showing on your body. So imagine how intense it is, what it is doing to you all the time. And when you think of something repeatedly, that is when that also starts to manifest in the body as diseases. So the moment you give yourself that zone of silence and you start taking a step back, that okay, whatever is. And और वो 10 मिनट के बाद भी you are not really going back कि ये मैं क्या कर रहा था, ये मैं क्या सोच रहा था. These are very normal tendencies that happens. वो 10 मिनट खत्म हो गए, वो भी वहीं छूट गया, and you have moved on in your everyday routine. So when you start looking at things from this dispassion, you will see your reactions have started to come down. Then it takes little time, it takes little practice to come to a state when you are actually able to witness everything that you are doing. The beginning will happen with the waking state. The beginning will happen with the waking state. The first time when you will be able to witness yourself, to see yourself, what you're doing is your waking state. And that is where you hold yourself. Okay. इसमें engage नहीं होना है. Pull yourself back. Okay. This is what I thought I will do in the day. This is all I have done. This is what is pending, etc., etc. And you just flow with it. But there is no such feeling of guilt, of ecstasy. अरे मैंने आज जो प्लान किया था सब अचीव कर लिया. मैंने जो प्लान किया था मैंने अचीव ही नहीं किया. Shit, मेरा हमेशा पेंडिंग रह जाता है. No such things really happen. You will see that an easiness comes in, and you learn to be okay with whatever is. And that's a beautiful state, because when once you are in that peaceful state within, then you really know what you are doing and what else can be done. What is happening through you. Okay? So Rishi says that he's a witness of the states, but is itself devoid of the states. So he is devoid of those states, meaning he is not going and getting into those states. So that's what happens when you are in Turiya. Devoid of the states, positive or negative. So there is nothing like positive, there is nothing like negative, because positive and negative is nothing but our own constructs of mind. What is positive for me is very, very negative for my daughter. What is positive for her is very, very negative for me. If I'll ask her right now, would you like to study? She'll say no. For me, positive is she becomes a little disciplined. Her attitude moves towards finding solutions. For her, positive is allow me to have fun and play. So these changes depending upon how you are nurturing your mind. You ask a terrorist what is positive, and you would know, is that positive for you, or even for quite a few people. That's a very pronounced example actually. But even in our everyday thing, while labeling things as positive or negative, be careful of the attachment that you are binding, because that's where ego will start to play and will have good game, good fun. And the moment ego has come into picture, happenings go, doing comes into picture. And the moment there is doing, burden will automatically happen. That is going to be the repercussion or consequence. And that's the process, because the moment there is doing and the moment we think I have done it, then you got to take the responsibility of what has not happened also, and what all you planned that you would be able to do. Then the flow goes off. Then the flow totally goes off. Then rather than being into the event or whatever is required, we are more into, I have to do it, I have to do it, I have to do it. And then how is everybody else doing it? So comparison will start creeping in, and this entire game of Maya that will start to happen. So you are then out of playfulness, you're out of Lita. So there is nothing like positive or negative. And the Rishi says, and remains in the state of non-separation and oneness. This is very interesting. We have no understanding of non-separation or oneness. In fact, I remember sometime back in Facebook, I had made this posting that the biggest illusion is the illusion of separation. Separation from whom? Separation from what? That this is at this moment going to be more intellectual for us, more superficial for us, because we have no such experience. We do not. We have no such experience. We can't even cognize. For us, it is me, the second person, the spouse, the wife, the friend, the boss, the junior. So there are so many entities. We do not experience that oneness because we have the sense of separation. And what does this sense of separation does? In fact, Rishis say that the biggest cry that one has is the sense of separation. It is like when the baby is in the womb, he feels so secured because there is nothing like sense of separation. And the moment the baby is out of womb, that security goes away, and the baby is all the time looking for the mother, or whosoever is around to actually treat the baby as a mother, as a child, and be the mother. There was a very interesting story kind of thing that floated a lot on WhatsApp a few years back, especially. So it says that there are two children in the mother's womb. They are talking, and look at their conversation. One is saying, you know, the 9th month is coming. We are going to be dead. So the second one says, what do you mean by we are going to be dead and how we are going to be dead? He says, this is the only time period. Right now, do you have to really worry about your food? You get it. You see, you are in this water and you have to really not fear or not bother about anything. And then we will be taken out and we will be dead because there will be no water. There will be no automatic system of feeding. So the second one says, well, no, it's not like that. Once we will be out, there will be a person called mother. She will feed us. She will take care of us. So the water may not be there, but there is a system called as breathing. So we have lungs, it will function and we will be able to breathe. He says, where are those lungs? Where have you seen it? He says, no, you may not experience it right now, but the moment you will be out, it will start functioning. The first one says, how do you know that? Second one definitely has no evidence, no proof. He says, I just know that. So the first one says, nothing of this kind is going to happen. You see, this entire thing is going to get destructed and we will be nowhere. So the second one says, no, don't worry. You will have mother to take care of. So the first one says, where is the mother? Show me. Where is the mother? You're talking of the mothers with such surety. Where is she? So the first one says, that's the second one says, we are in the mother. We are in the mother. And the first one is just not willing to agree or experience or understand. He is so stuck in my process, in my current system, and what is not visible cannot happen. And that's the truth of our life. We are all in the lap of the mother. It's just that we don't recognize this. And this exactly is the realization that each one of us is not separate from the mother, is not separate from the source. Who is the mother? The mother is a source. So we are not separate from the source. We are very, very one with the source. Yet, because we experience that separation, we live in insecurity. We live in that feeling that, oh my God, who will take care of us? We have to take care of ourselves. And my master says that, human being is the only species on earth who has to earn his living. Every other form of creature has it given. Neither the cow has to earn the living, nor the insects have to earn the living. Nobody has to earn the living. They have this process that when this physical entity will demand food, this physical entity will only bring that action in them that will make them search for the food. They will have them and they will be easy. We are the only people, we are the only creature who needs to earn, because we have this evolved mind. And with that concept of earning, the moment mind comes into picture, the aham vritti, man buddhi chitta ahankar, then the entire drama of Maya starts. So the Rishi says that in the state of non-separation and oneness, this has been defined in so many words. In fact, this is something that we all yearn for. Maybe at this moment it is difficult for us to understand, but this demands that we have that faith that there is something called as oneness. This oneness is only when is realized by the rishis. They declare aham brahmasmi. They declare tattvam asi. I am that. I am the Brahma. They declare I am Atma Brahma. I am none but that same Brahma Atma. It is only when this oneness is realized, this sense of non-separation is realized. The further Rishi says, then it is spoken of as the Turiya, the fourth. So the moment these conditions are taken care of, that there is non-separation, there is oneness, there is witnessing, there is nothing positive, negative, which means there is no duality. One has already moved beyond duality. One is even able to see the dualities functioning. Then what one is in is called as Turiya. Yeah. Anything till here? After this, we are going to look at the Panchakoshas in the Upanishad. But anything here for any questions or any observation, anything that you want to share on this fourth state, the Turiya state, or the three states of consciousness as well? Vidya, are you trying to say something? You will have to unmute yourself.
I just joined, so I will just see the recording. The Turiya, I just needed the meaning of that, but I think I'll just.
The very word Turiya means the fourth. The three states of consciousness, we do not call them as first, second, and third. The names have been already connoted as the waking, sleeping, and dreamless state, waking, dreaming, and dreamless sleep state, which is Jagrata, Swapna, and Sushupti. But the fourth has not been given any name. And for the very reason that words are creation of mind, and anything that comes through mind has its own meaning, and then we tend to corrupt it. So the rishis did not give it any name. They simply call it the fourth or the Turiya. Yeah?
Yes, Richa. Something what came to the mind is like these three states. Can we say that they are? I don't think we can say it, that they are the permanent states. Like they keep coming and going.
Oh,
sometimes we are in this state, sometimes in this, and so it's not that this is a state where you have achieved and now you will not come back from there. There is always a possibility that you keep shifting between these states.
So you are always shuttling. Even when we are, why even the waking state is considered a state of dream is that even when we think that we are waking, we are seeing the things, all our senses are active, but all these senses are loaded with perception. So even while being awake, are we really awake? We are not. And that is why this is again a state of consciousness. This is not the ultimate.
Yeah, we cannot call it a physical state. It's a like mental, and you only know which state you are in. Like nobody can judge.
You only know which state you are in. The moment you know it, you move out of that state.
Yeah, that's what.
The moment
like there
you
is
know
no
it,
recognition. I cannot tell in like this person is in this state, this person, we cannot recognize like that. It's your own way of like it's your own perception of yourself, and you only know.
You do not need to recognize it for others. And for ourselves, the moment we recognize it, we are moving into the witnessing. The very recognition, oh my God, which state is working in me right now? Where is my mind?
Yeah.
The moment this happens, you will sense a certain disattachment, a certain stepping back, a certain creation of distance between what is happening. And that is the witness state, that is the watchfulness state. And we have that capability. Mandukya Upanishad, Mundak Upanishad, it has got a wonderful, and I love it quoting everywhere. It has a beautiful shloka which says there are two birds on the same branch of the tree. The one is silently watching and the other is chirping and dancing and doing all the things. And then the Rishi in the next shlok once says that these two birds are not two separate birds. These are two states of our mind. One is the mind engaged in Dvaita, and the other is the witnessing mind. So the mind has various fragments, and there is this quality that it has, because mind, where has it come from? It has come from the source. So how can it not have that quality of the source? In fact, if I have to create a model as I understood it, mind can be very well called as the bridge between the Atman and the world. So when the mind is, Shalini, I'll come to that. When the mind is engaged in all the worldly activities, it has forgotten the witness state. It has forgotten that it is not really that which it is engaging itself into, or that which it is branding itself as, or that which it is experiencing itself as. But this mind, when starts becoming silent, and then moves into surrender, then the dissolution of it happens. And then what is or what remains is called as Atman. So this mind is what it allows the Atman to express itself in the world. So there is this very interesting story. I'm forgetting Alan Watts. There is a book, The Book of Taboo of Knowing Who You Are. That's the name of the book. And in that book, he talks of a very interesting story. He says, how do you explain this entire phenomena to the kids? And so he says that it is like this. God got really bored. He said, I need to play some game. But whom do I play with? So it created many forms of itself. And then he says, let's play hide and seek. But God being God, he did this so beautifully that he forgot that all these creations are not he himself, but separate. And in the playing of hide and seek, he started to search for himself only. So he was so good at creating this drama to play the game that he forgot that all these creations actually forgot that they are the source itself. They have come from the source itself because they were the creation of God. So they had to be good. They had to be perfect. So this is how he puts it up in a way of a story, which is so very beautiful.
What is the name you said? The name of the book?
The name of the book is The Book of Taboo of Knowing Who You Are.
Writer, like who is the author?
Alan Watt. ALANWATT.
Just put it in the group somewhere. I don't have the pen right now. Either I have to go far. I have come far.
It's okay. Yes. Arvind is asking which state one should be in. Now,
should.
The moment should will come, yes, it will create that ruckus. There is nothing like should, because should is again like labeling, judging, which is the best. There is nothing like the best. The entire pursuit of Upanishad is to move into the direction of oneness. And that's all. So how you are moving is all that matters. If you are moving or not, that is all that matters. We may not arrive at that perfect state. We may not realize Turiya. But in the process, what will happen definitely is you will have that clarity in life of what to give how much of importance. What not to give importance. Do you need to get attached to something, or should you stay a little away? And then there will be a sense of unburdening. You will be more conscious of not allowing the wrong thing to enter your mind, life, or whatever you say. And this then when the student is ready, the teacher appears. As you get ready, you will start receiving guidance. So that's the beauty of it. So there is nothing like, even if I say Turiya is the best state to be in, then what will happen? We are not in Turiya. That's so impractical. That is such a false thing for us. So what should we do?
Move towards it as much as
So
possible.
just keep moving in that direction. That's more important. How mental state creates diseases. Now, this is not which Upanishad will talk of, but because I also work with energy as a healer, so I'm telling you this. There is something called as aura that everything has. We also have, even the inanimate things, the mobiles, the phones, the books, everything has got on. And this is nothing but the energy vibration that surrounds it. So depending upon the type of energy, the frequency at which it is vibrating, its manifestation happens. So how this aura is created? This aura is created by our thoughts. And that is why the aura of a stone will not change, but our aura will change. So there are people who diagnose it, and they will tell you exactly at that point in time what is that your aura is stating. And there is a way to even diagnose as to which disease you are attracting. So the energy patterns, so if you, for example, start thinking negative, on day one, nothing will happen to you. Day two, nothing will happen to you, but your energy pattern will start changing. That is what you will also exhibit through your behavior. So, and then the moment it gets denser and denser and denser and denser, it manifests in the chakra system, because that's where we pull the energy inside. And from that, it goes to the specific organ which is dominated in the specific chakra system, and then it manifests. So that's a different science altogether. The rishis of Upanishads, my experience is that one who gets into this energy system only gets badly stuck, because this is really very, very fascinating. That aura है, 7 चक्र हैं, और मैं चक्र के साथ हमारे systems जुड़े हुए हैं, glands जुड़े हुए हैं, उनका functioning जुड़ा हुआ है. All these 7 chakras dominate certain functioning. So depending upon where your energy system is throbbing more, that's the kind of behavior you will exhibit. So this is a very fascinating world. But then how is all that being created? It is being created through your thoughts. And how is your thought getting created? How is your mind functioning? So if one has not understood mind, if one has not understood how he is behaving every day, the patterns will keep functioning, and then they will manifest in the physical body. So it's like when it gets so intense at the energy level, it manifests in the physical level. So that energy level is also what is called as the Sukshma Sharira. So from Sukshma Sharira, it comes to the Sthula Sharira. So that's why, despite being in that, in fact, even my Reiki master, she's onto the spiritual path, and she follows mostly Maharshi Raman. And Maharshi Raman has one simple question: who is operating right now? So when you react, who in you is reacting? So he is all the time pointing out to that ego state which is reacting in you. What is that is triggering? And for every damn thing, and I am in a journey with her right now, and I am being questioned for every reaction that I have. And because every reaction, now at least I have become so sensitive that I can see the changes every reaction brings even onto my physical level. So how it makes me uneasy, or how it literally how it ruins my day, because the mind gets stuck. So I am being questioned. What expectation do you have which is getting triggered? What definition have you put in which is getting triggered? Until you get rid of that, until you come to that point of stability, these reactions will keep happening and you will not be able to respond and you will be stuck where you are. So who is this who is reacting? Becomes a very important question. So if you wish to work with the energy system, it's equally important that you be in this line of understanding of what Upanishad brings to you. And it is not just Upanishad, the Bhakti saints or Osho or Krishnamurti or Zen, anything, Taoism. We shall definitely have a session when we will look at the Zen koans, and they're beautiful. Beautiful they are. So various other things. Yeah. Now, moving ahead. Now, Rishi is answering the questions related to the Pancha Kosha that the disciple had asked in the first shloka. So the Rishi says the aggregate of the 6 sheath, which are the products of food, is called the Annamaya Kosha. Let me show you a sample diagram of how koshas are represented. So do you see this figure? These are like 5 sheaths. The outermost sheath is called Annamaya Kosha. Annamaya Kosha, and what Annamaya Kosha is, we will look into it. Then there is Pranamaya Kosha, which is the second kosha. The third kosha is called the Manomaya Kosha. The fourth kosha is called the Vijnanamaya Kosha, and the fifth kosha is called the Anandamaya Kosha. Now, important to realize, Anandamaya Kosha itself is not Atman, but it is the closest to the self with capital S, or the Atman, or the Brahma, or the source, or the God, or whatever you would like to call it, or the Kavalya, whatever you would like to call it. So this is how, in the language of representation, if you want to model how these sheets are, this is how they are. So let's look at we begin always with the outer kosh, and you will be very, very interested to find that a lot of people around you, and maybe you also, quite a few times, we delve in the Annamaya Kosha. So what is Annamaya Kosha? The aggregate of the 6 sheaths. So what are these 6 sheaths? The 6 sheaths are the ones pertaining to nerves. So all that which is constructing our physical body. So there is nerve, there is bone marrow, there is blood, there is flesh, and 6 things done: nerves, bones, bone marrow, flesh, blood, and skin. These 6 things comprises the physical body, or the manifestation of the physical body. So the Rishi says the aggregate of the 6 sheaths, which are the product of food, this is very, very interesting, is called the Annamaya Kosha. Do we really recognize that this body is nothing but the product of food? If we would recognize that, so then 2 things will happen. One, we will be a little conscious of what we are eating in terms of what we are feeding the body. And here also comes into the concept of Ayurveda, when the saying is, Jaisa anna vaisa man. The kind of food that you eat is the kind of mind that you will get through your body. So Ayurveda classifies the 3 gunas, which is the Satogun, Rajogun, and Tamogun. So Sattva has the quality of purity, quality of peace, quality of tranquility, quality of stability. The Rajas gun has the quality of restlessness. So if you find yourself always thinking of something to do, I have to do this, I have to do that, and there is this inner restlessness. अरे ये नहीं हुआ, अरे वो नहीं हुआ, अरे वो छूट गया, वो छूट गया. So then Rajas is functioning very heavily. Rajas is what gives us that energy to run around. So all the three gun has got their own benefits and their own pitfalls. And then there is Tamogun. Tamogun is that which makes us more lazy, makes us more alsi. I don't want to work. That's what Tamogun says. So when we also talk of the three Shanti and we say the Adhyatmik Badhaएं, so the three Badhaएं, if you all remember, we had the Adi Devik Badhaएं, Adi Bhautik Badhaएं, and the Adhyatmik Badhaएं, for which we do the three Shantis in any Shanti. This is one very important Adhyatmik Badha that arises within us, that tamas, that doesn't want us to go towards any thing that can help us stay onto this spiritual path. So the three gun, they are something that also comes to us through food. Every food has got Satogun, Rajogun, and Tamogun. For example, all the fruits and the milk products, they are known to have the Sattva gun. All the vegetables and such things, they are all known to have the Rajogun. And alcohol and non-vegetarian food, and even a few of the stuff like garlic, it has got Tamogun, although garlic has medicinal property, but then you take medicine as per the need. You do not take medicine every day. And there are a few more things: coffee, tea, all these have got the Tamogun. So initially they stimulate us, but they actually attack the nervous system and they bring this entire action of the neurons down. So one reason why eating non-vegetarian food is also not suggested is it will give you that quality of being, kind of attacking and being lazy. So jaisa anna vaisa man. So the Rishi is saying, which are the product of the food? So then you become conscious of what you are eating. And you also become conscious, how much do I need to take care of this physicality? So if I can really go ahead and be very frank about it, the entire cosmetic industry survives on Annamaya Kosha. If we are not that body identified, the cosmetic industry will actually collapse. Why should you need to look as pretty as they ask you to? And all these grand, this Mr. Universe, Miss Universe, and all the pageants that happen, and everything, wherein your body is important, the Bollywood industry, where the body is important. And these are some very, very simple ways wherein you can really figure out how body-centric we are. Look at just go and look at the matrimonial advertisements. Seeking somebody with such kind of height, with such kind of things, etc., etc. And that tells us, nobody talks of what kind of thought process they have. Nobody asks for that. How you look at life, how you look at relationship. What do you understand by it? What do you think is society of? Do you ask such questions when you go to look for your spouse? No, you don't. All that we look at, what's the color, how tall are they, how good they look, Swapana Sundari. So that's another creation in itself. And all these are some signs that tells us how rooted we are in the body. And the Rishi here is saying the body is that which is a product of the food. So what you have eaten is all that has created this the way it is. When we took birth, we were so small. And depending upon how well we have eaten, along with the DNA, we take shape. And that's how the body gets constructed. And this is a beautiful indication, I would say, which demands us to ask, the importance that I associate with the body or the Annamaya Kosha, should I? Because the Annamaya Kosha also is the farthest from the source. Annamaya Kosha is the farthest from the root. Annamaya Kosha is farthest from the Atma. So if we stay in the Annamaya Kosha, we definitely are not moving inside. Yeah, Komalji.
Like I raised my hand when you were talking about this Sattva, Raja and Tamas type of food, what type of food and this. In the similarly, like when I studied Ayurveda a little, our body is also having Vata, Pitta and Kapha. And these are the three states our body is in. Accordingly, we need to choose our food also. So that food and the body together play a part. What food is good for me may not be good for my husband because he is from some different prakriti.
Right.
This food, like what we have seen is, for different people, food works in a different way. Some people, they really don't eat anything and they are creating diseases and fat and all. Some like this food is a concept which has never been in my mind.
You see,
I know there are some rules which we need to follow, fruits, vegetables and all, but milk also, like they say, be vegan.
That is because when it used to be that Vedic age, the way the cows were treated, the way they were taken care of, the way calves were treated was very different.
Right.
Now it is not so. They are injected, given hormones so that they keep producing. They are kept in a very they're kept in very sad state. And in fact, you have animal farming. The way you grow rice and pulses and all those things and vegetables, you're actually growing lives, which is cows and other animals for consumption. So vegan movement is a movement that is a need of this hour. Then it was a different thing. But what is important is along with the three good, the Prakriti will play its role. The point is, I need to know possibly my Prakriti so that I am in alignment. Now, depending upon which is the work that I'm engaged in, what is the goal of my life? Do I want to move towards the spiritual path? Then my mind also has to be that clean. And the food is feeding my mind. So if I be very, very unconscious of, putting every garbage inside, then this will always be disturbed. This will not allow you to be calm and peaceful. And that's the only relevance here. So when the Rishi will talk of food, he will talk of it because he knows that every food that goes inside has its own energy. It interferes with the energy system that the Rishi has, and hence the mind. And hence it has the capability of creating that kind of restlessness or peacefulness in its body. And so the Rishi would stay more on the sattvic food. But if you have a lifestyle that demands a lot of running around, you are engaged in some work that has a lot of running around, you will need some Rajasic food because that's where you will get the energy to move around. If you stay totally on sattvic food, then your energy will get depleted. For Rishis, they used to work a lot through pranayams and other things on their prana, because of which the sattvic food was more than enough for them. But do we world? We don't. So then a little of that is important. So to move, changing lifestyle, the point here is not that you change all your lifestyle and what you are eating, etc. The point here is to become aware and recognize this is food. This is not you. So please stop giving it so much of importance as this is you. This is enabling your entire system to express in this world.
Yeah,
so it
it
is
comes to
important.
the same thing, like don't give so much of importance, even if you have not been able to eat fruits and a lot of veggies and you're eating something and you're regretting, Are, kya kha liya, kyun kha liya, that will have a even more adverse effect than eating if you would have eaten a fruit.
Finally,
Like
whatever you do at
with
the end of
what
the day, if
thought
you
you
are
are eating
allowing the thought getting contaminated, then
with the
everything is
food.
gone.
Whatever is done is done.
So the next Rishi says, when the 14 kinds of vayus beginning with the prana are in the elementary sheath, it is spoken of the pranamaya kosha, vestures of the vital airs. So what are these 14 kind of vayus? So there are 5 kind of vayus that Ayurveda talks of, which is the apana vayu, udana vayu, prana vayu, samana vayu, and there's one more I tend to forget. Apana, prana, apana, vyana, and vyana vayu. Then there are also some vayus associated to these. So the idea here is not to get into the science of vayus. That's the science of yogic science, wherein you do all those work with it. In fact, if you wish to know more about this, I can suggest you a book. You can look for it on Amazon. The book on Prana and Pranayam from Bihar School of Yoga. So they have talked a lot about what every vayu does in the body, how it impacts your system and your behavior and thought process, and how you should actually work with them, and how which pranayam to do and how to do in order to get your entire vayu correct. The point here to understand is, this is the sheet which is next to the Annamaya Kosh, which is called the Pranamaya Kosh. And this is what is important for us to experience life in this body. So prana is that that ensures that the entire life in us is happening. And then there are a lot of research that when the body dies, it is the exit of prana because of which the body dies, etc., etc. And so the rishis also do a lot of meditative practices in order to take care of their prana. So all these vayus have got certain function. And this sheath, because now also notice that we are moving from the sthula to sukshma, from the very gross, which is what you can see, the anna, to the subtle. Now we have come to the second sheath, which is the pranamaya kosh, which we can't see. We can experience when you do pranayam, etc. You can experience those, but you can't see it through the 5 senses. So you have already started to move beyond the 5 senses. Annamaya kosh, till then, we are with the 5 senses. We are with the gross body. The third, when the Atman united with these 2 sheaths performs by the mean of the 4 organs beginning with the mind, the function of desire, etc., which have for their objects sound and the rest, then it is called the Manomaya Kosha, or the mental sheath. So now, in every state, the Rishi says, after all, these are all expression of the Atman. It's just that if you move to the witnessing zone, you will be able to see these as separate from the Atman. But if you are identified, the Atman will experience itself as these koshas itself. So it says that when Atman united with these two sheaths, which is the Annamaya Kosh and the Pranamaya Kosh, performs. And how does it perform? It performs by means of the four organs beginning with the mind. So there is Mana, Buddhi, Chitta and Ahankar, the function of desire, etc. Which have for their object sound and the rest. Then it is called the Manomaya Kosha. So this is how it defines it. For our life, in fact, if you look at when we talk of broadly, we talk of three different kind of health. We talk of physical health, we talk of mental health, and then we talk of spiritual health. Spiritual health, nobody has any clue of how much ever they talk. Mental health is what this Manomaya Kosha is about. So we are attached a lot to the Annamaya Kosh. That's where we function a lot from. And the next space that we function from, Pranamaya Kosh, is automatic function in us. We really do not pay any attention to how it is functioning. But then how is mind functioning? We may not be able to do much about it because we do not know the tricks and traits of Maya, of illusion. And that's why even in the mental health space that you see the world operating, there is the entire neuroscience behind it. All that people talk of is the four main hormones. You have dopamine, you have oxytocin, you have adrenaline, and there is one more. And how neuroscience talks of the neocortex and the limbic brain and the amygdala and all that. So actually, even in the mental space, we pull ourselves down to the Annamaya Kosha. Because now we are talking of the gross system in our bodies. Once I was very, very excited to write the beginning of pandemic when all of a sudden so many webinars were happening. And I saw a lot of people talking of the neuroscience because mental health became very, very important. The glory of man reduced to hormones. That was a topic I wanted to write on. Because now there is nothing called as consciousness. There is nothing like awareness. There is nothing called as Chetana. All that is left is, how is my amygdala operating? How is the neocortex operating? What is the primitive brain? How are the hormones functioning? And the entire pursuit was to ensure that the body releases more of dopamine so that we feel good, the happiness hormone, and all that stuff. So how do you ensure that more of happiness hormone is being released in your body? So when you do this, happiness hormones is released. So all that was being said is, we are set of hormones, we are run by hormones, and we have no control over that, how the hormone functions. And you know the interesting part, you become witness to the hormones and you see it will stop functioning. You're very sad. It will take little effort because we are not used to it. But you're very sad and just say, it's okay that I am feeling sad. Hormones are at work. And hold yourself there. And allow yourself to be in that state. In a few moments, the hormones will stop functioning the way they were, which was pulling you down. And you will be out of it. The same happens even with these physical desires, the sexual need. When there is a lot of desire coming up, just become aware of it. And you will see the desire going off. You need to experiment with this. I'm saying because I've experimented with all this. And this is how it is. The awareness has this yes, Shalini, anger also. But the question is, can you look yourself when you are angry that, oh my God, I'm getting angry? Initially, it will be difficult. Every emotional state. You become conscious of it, move into the zone of witnessing, it will dissolve and you will be into the peaceful state. A lot of time, initially, it looks like, oh damn, I've become numb. There is no emotion happening in me. That's the feeling that comes. In fact, it makes one even more unsettled. I'm not feeling good. That happiness, that that kick, that is missing. But it's only when you are no more emotional that you can move to the zone of being sensitive and compassionate. Emotions and compassion do not happen together. Trust me. Emotions are very, very self-centric. How am I feeling? You can never be aware of what is happening to whom you call as other. And hence that oneness with other can never happen. To recognize that that person also is fighting with himself, herself in some way, never happens if you are dwelling in your own emotional state. So with anger, you can do two things. You either become that angry that you have got converted to anger. Allow anger to manifest fully, Raudra Roop. Then you will see the destruction it does. Remember, I've spoken a lot about Gurdjieff's methodology of making people quit cigarette. And then you will not be angry because you have seen its ill effect. You have experienced it. You have lived that. So the next time when anger will come, that remembrance will tick in you that will help you. No, I can't be angry. I got to deal with it in a different way. That's one way. The second way is witness. Be the witness and you will see, even when you are angry. Then what will happen is, if you need to be angry because the situation demands, you will play anger. You will not be anger. And there is great relaxation in playing anger. For example, with children, I do need to play anger with my daughter quite a few times. I need to show that, hey, whatever you do, everything is not okay. So I have already spoken to her, I've talked out the things, but she is not willing to understand that anger has to be shown. But it is playing anger, it is not becoming anger. And that's a very beautiful thing. You play anger and you see how interestingly it does not leave any residue. After the event has happened, you will be relaxed, chill. You will not carry it. It will not playing in you. How dare they did it? That will not happen. And that's a very interesting state.
Yeah, it's true with other emotions also many a times. It's true with other emotions also. You're feeling sad and you feel like crying and you're just witnessing that you're enjoying your crying also.
You cry and you see it.
You see.
And it's okay.
Yeah, it's
then
okay.
The judgments will go away. It will be like becoming okay with everything happening. And the moment you are okay with everything happening, what is the right thing to happen, the spontaneous action, then that will start to happen through you.
Yeah, this has been quite surprising for me in the last few lifetimes. Yeah, I'm enjoying my tears. And inside I'm smiling, I'm happy, but still the tears are there.
You don't feel ashamed, yeah, I'm feeling bad.
No.
I'm crying. You don't feel ashamed and you should not feel bad about it. It's okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Come on, it's okay. And shrug off automatically, unburdened very easily. Yeah, so that is the Manomaya Kosh, where all the desires and the mind plays. When the soul shines, being united with these three sheaths and cognizant of the differences and non-differences thereof, then it is called the Vijnanamaya Kosha, sheath of intelligence. Now you're coming closer to the Atma. The first three sheaths is still easy for us to move into, keep dwelling into. The fourth is very interesting. Now, Vigyan, the way we call it science, it is not the same Vigyan. We is an upasarga that is used to explain anything or define anything which is beautiful, which is very affirmative, or which takes you towards the self-realization, something like that. So similarly for tarka or argument, we have kutarka, vitarka, and tarka. So the tark, the knowledge, the argument, the logic that helps you to move ahead on the path of realizing yourself is vitarka. So the entire jnana marga, the path of knowledge, is based on the process of vitarka, not the kutark and tarka. Tark is the general argument, general logic that we keep unnecessarily giving. Kutark is when you see people justifying, trying to justifying their stupid stuff with unnecessary logic. That's where the kutarka happens. So the arguments with two people, when it's getting heated, you know all the kutarka is happening. Vitark is that, you know, we talked of neti. So vitark is the one which happens in neti. I am not this, I am not that. Similarly, jnana also is, there is jnana, there is knowledge. There is agyan, not knowledge, no knowledge, and there is vijnana, the knowledge that takes you beyond, that has the potential, the capability to take you beyond. So we call in our everyday parlance the study of science is Vijnana in Hindi, because of course they would not like to connote it with a word which is not very good, or which gives a feeling of some mediocrity or so. So we call it Vijnana, but in reality, Vijnana is that knowledge, and or you can also call it the Paravidya, which takes you beyond. Or if we talk in the language of Vidya and Avidya, Vidya is Vijnana. If we talk in the language of Paravidya and Aparavidya, the Paravidya is Vijnana. So when we are living through that, wherein the art of discretion, the buddhi, is very, very awakened, it's sharp, it is functioning very diligently, it is able to discriminate what is transient and temporary and what is permanent, what is nitya and what is anitya, then we say that we are in the world of Vijnanamaya Kosha. And then there is the fifth sheath. When these four sheaths remain in their own cause, which is knowledge or Brahma, in the same way as the latent banyan tree remains in the banyan seed, then it is spoken of the Anandamaya Kosha, causal frame of the soul. So what causes this entire thing to manifest? That is the Anandamaya Kosha. So the Rishi says, the way the latent banyan tree remains in the banyan seed. So the seed has the full potential of growing. It has not yet grown. That is what Anandamaya Kosha is. When in Anandamaya Kosha, you have full potential to actually move into the Atman. So there is this latent potentiality, but it is latent. It hasn't yet happened. But you are very, very close to Atman, or the soul, or the source. So if you talk of which is the best to be in this world, we will be on all the 5 levels at different times. The recognition that I am not the Annamaya Kosha, I am not the Pranamaya Kosha, I am not the Manomaya Kosha, I am not the Jnanamaya Kosha, and allowing all of them to function at their best potential, and being in the Anandamaya Kosha, that is what brings you closer to the Atman. Yeah. So here the Rishi finishes the 5 sheets. And then the next onwards, it's about the Karta and the Kshetra and the Kshetragya, etc. I think we will stop here today. Any question that's coming to your mind or anything that you want more discussion on, please.
Not the question, that song which generally I'm very fond of, जो आजकल उसका है ना, न मन हूं न बुद्धि न चित्त अहंकार न जिव्य नयन न शिका कर्ण द्वार.
So Shankaracharya's Nirvana Shatkam is what you are referring. Mano buddhi ankara chittani naham. Which says I am neither the mind, neither the intellect, buddhi, neither the consciousness.
All these sheets he is talking, right now what you say. All these sheets are not this, not the neti.
That is neti. That is it. You know, to be able to do neti, the first step is to recognize what are the various aspects. Because if we do not know the various layers of the onion, what are you going to peel off? So then Maya will keep playing its role. And then you also become aware of how these things are playing through you or in your life or in your activity, in your behavior, in your thought process, everywhere. Because they are defining your life, the quality of your life in totality. So the next time when you go to a restaurant, possibly you may not be very, what do you say, fanatic about मुझे तो यही खाना है, मुझे तो इसी restaurant में जाना है. You might still go to the restaurant that you like, but you will not be crazy about it. And it is all right if somebody else says कि नहीं इसमें तो हम 5 बार गए हैं अभी किसी और में जाते हैं. You know, and then you will not be upset. मेरी तो कोई सुनता ही नहीं है. वहाँ का खाना कितना अच्छा, मुझे वहाँ की बिरयानी कितनी पसंद है. All these nonsense start going away because you have started showing them the right place of those in your life. So yes, food is important, but to what extent and what food? I'll take it. मुझे खाने से कोई दुश्मनी थोड़ी है या मुझे स्वादिष्ट खाने से कोई दुश्मनी थोड़ी है. हाँ, लेबलिंग की यही स्वादिष्ट है और मैं यही खाऊंगी और ये तो कितना घटिया सा है यार, करेला है. All this crap stops to happen. And there is huge unburden. Yeah, Parul. Self in the Upanishadic world is connoted with in two ways. One is self with small s and the other is self with capital S. Whenever it is self with capital S, it refers to the Atman, oneness, source, God, Purnata, Shunyata, Kavalya, whatever. The moment it is self with small s, it is the ego that it refers to. So here, the self is about the Atman.
So means we can, means when we cross all these layers, then we attain like with divinity or something.
You know, when you move beyond these layers, the ego associated with each layer that starts to fall apart. And it is the ego that makes you heavy. So the one thing that will happen is you will feel very anchored, centered, despite the situation being very bad. मेरे घर में ये बीमार है, मुझे यहाँ भागना है, कोर्ट कचहरी है, बच्चे का एग्जाम है, and all those things, you will still be peaceful and you will be able to take right decision with the right frame of mind. अभी आत्मन में पहुंचते हैं कि नहीं मुझे नहीं पता, because I would I come back to this all the time. When it is Atman, there is no ego. Right now, I really do not know myself as anything other than the ego. So what will happen then? I really do not know. So let's wait and celebrate, but let's be conscious of allowing these layers to fall off and not become so strong with you that you get so stuck with them, so attached with them, that now it is so difficult. People, when you do something and people say, तुम्ही ने तो किया है, हाँ यार मैंने ही किया है, ये बोल के देखो कितना मजा आता है, हाँ यार मैंने ही किया, क्या करें, ऐसा ही हो गया. और नहीं, तुम्ही ने तो किया और उसके बाद देखो, अच्छा मैंने किया है, ऐसा ऐसा था, इसलिए ऐसे ऐसे हुआ, and now everything is created. At the moment you say कि हाँ यार मैंने तो किया, the other party also can't say anything. But this demands that one is not so stuck to the ego states. Give me a second. Yeah. So that's the journey for us. And let's see what each one of us is able to unfold. Anything else? Any questions? Anything that you want to share? Anything that is coming up for you?
Only thing is today how I attended the session, I only know. 7 o'clock I left the house and 7 o'clock I came back in the evening after all the thing. Actually, my son is getting married next month. So all that preparations and all. 7 o'clock I said, okay, now you go, I'm going home. I have to attend something. Finish. But thank you so much. Nice. It was a nice decision that I came back and attended this. Thank you.
Okay, so then we do the prayer and we close the session. Anybody has anything to share? It would be nice if you can. Yeah. So
I just needed the book you gave the reference for from Alan's.
I'll share the group. I'll share the picture of the book.
Share in the group.
And in the other one, I think there was another one by Maharishi Raman or something. I don't know.
Maharishi Raman's very thin book is called Who Am I? Okay. It's available on Amazon. The cost of the book is 10 rupees. On Amazon, it is available for 120 rupees. But those who have Maharishi Raman Ashram anywhere close by, they have all the books. They keep it, so you can buy from there also. But many other books are also there. Yeah. It's hardly a 5-7 page book, 10-page book, because Who Am I is a very plain, crisp dialogue, or not dialogue, that something that he says, very crisp and very thick. You will get that on internet also. Yeah, Who Am I is very easily available.
Yeah, so I'll look for it. Yes. Okay. Thank you.
I will try and see if I find. I'll share the one in the.
Yeah, I think it's meant for me because I had another group meeting right before that for I'm studying actually chakra with psychology and again related to the spirituality. Like when you were saying how people look at it when they are stuck into only energy and they don't know the other aspect of it. So I could understand that because there's so much more to that than just the energy part. So I could really understand that because that's what my meeting was about. And someone else mentioned this book as well. And now you go back to back. So I know I'm meant to read that or at least get some kind of hands on it. So I'll look for that too. Thank you so much.
Okay, let's then do the Shanti part and then we can close the session. Sit straight. Close your eyes. If you know it, you can sing along. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः
Thank you.